Welcome back, folks, for another fun episode here. Today, we're going to be loading up some 35 Remington range food. We're not going to be doing anything too serious. We've just got a couple powders to try out. We're going to be doing some reduced loads with the Trailboss and the 700X. And then we're also going to be kicking it up a notch with the 8208 XBR and doing a couple full power loads with those big 200 grain bullets there. I've also got a couple different primers to test out. We've been rocking the Winchester large rifle, but today we're going to try out a couple of the Federal GM 210M, the large rifle match, and then for the 8208 loads, we're going to use the large Magnum rifle match primers, the GM 215Ms there. For one of our Trailboss loads, we'll be using the 9.5 grains of Trailboss with our 358 125 again, as seen in our reduced loads video. And then we also have some 200 grain 358 200s from Lee as well. Generally with these larger cases, I like to be using the Imperial sizing wax here, but I think today I'm just going to opt for the Hornady one shot because we've been having some good luck with that lately. And I've got quite a few cases here, so we'll just hit those real fast. And we're just going to let those dry for a few minutes while I set up my sizing die here. The dies we're going to be using today are some RCBS full-length sizing dies, number 16501. These don't come with a shell holder, so I've got the Hornady shell holder, that's number 26. Before we throw our die into the press, we're going to make sure to hit it with some of the one-shot as well and give that a chance to evaporate. So we've already got our shell holder installed here. We're just going to bring our ram all the way up, and I'm just going to barely kiss it with our die here. I don't want to chem over too hard with these cases. So our cases are ready to go. We'll just run some of these up here. I won't do all of them for you, but you'll get the hint, right? Some of these I did not tumble after shooting at the range. Some of them were sent to me clean, so we got a nice assortment of mixed brass here. I think probably 95% of them are Remington head stamps, and we've got a couple Hornadys and a couple Winchesters mixed in there. This one-shot lube seems to be doing quite well. I'm not having any trouble with that neck sticking. Now that everything's been full length size, we need to trim our brass, and today we're going to be using the Lee large case trimmer, cutter and lock stud with the case length gauge and shell holder combo. These kits are relatively cheap. You can get each one for $5 to $10 a pop, and then you can get whatever caliber you need as well. And it's great for small runs of brass, but if I'm doing anything high volume, I'm going to start to want something else. But for now, this is all I have, and it gets the job done just as well. And yes, we will be using the power drill because why the hell not? That's not to say it can't be done without the power drill. It can totally be done by hand, but tools were made for a reason, and we're going to utilize what we have to do the job at hand. If you'd like a full tutorial on the Lee kit here, you can check out my video on 223 trimming, but for now I'm just going to knock all these out, and then I'm going to throw them in the tumbler for a few minutes to knock off any of those brass shavings, as well as get all that lube off before I start loading. And now we're done tumbling. I used a walnut mixture with some polish in there. Ran it for a few hours while I was doing dinner and stuff, so that's no big deal. I wasn't in any hurry. And now we have this delicious, shiny brass ready to go. Here we already have our RCBS Uniflow set up with our Trailboss in it, dialed in at 9.5 grains. But before we get too far, we need to expand our case mouths so that we can seat our lead bullets without shaving off any of that powder coat and exposing any of the bare lead. For the task of expanding, we're going to be using our Lee Universal Case Expanding Die. When we pull the top off of our die here, we can see that there's two expander plugs that comes with it. There's a small one and a larger one. I think this one will work up to a 30 caliber, and then this one is above that. There's several combinations you can use to fit your different case heights as well as caliber specific expansion needs. So we'll just put our large expanding plug into our die here and cap it off. I won't put this all the way down because I'll have a little bit of room of adjustment once I get it installed into the press here. So for setting up our expander, we're basically going to treat it as a pistol expanding die. I'm going to raise my case all the way up into the die, and then I'll screw the body down, and then we can also adjust the top for a finer flare. We'll lock that in, and once our case comes out, I've already got it dialed in just to save us some time, but we'll be able to easily seat our case in here without shaving off any lead when we go to seat it. So I went ahead and did my 100 plus cases we've already got prepped from earlier. Now it's time to prime our cases with the Lee Ram Prime. So we've already gone over the installation of our Lee Ram Prime in a few prior videos, and I've already primed a few of my cases with Winchester primers I'm going to be doing on the Trailboss loads we've already seen, but now I'm going to do a few with some of these Federal large rifle gold medal match primers. So I've never personally loaded with any of these primers before, so here's a nice look at them if anyone else has never seen them before. Our third primer of the day is the Federal Large Magnum Rifle Gold Medal Match Primer. And here we have a close look at the Magnum primers here. They've got a purple compound with the brass colored anvil and the nickel plated cup. So I went ahead and loaded up our 358 125 grain bullets here with our Trailboss load, but now we're going to use the same charge but with our 200 grain bullets. And with our RCBS Uniflow setup, we can dump all these charges in a matter of no time. This Trailboss just kind of flows through here with ease, and as long as you replicate your throw every time, they should be coming out pretty consistently. And we'll just visually verify real quick that those all look like very similar charges. Good thing about Trailboss is that it's so bulky, it's almost impossible to do a double throw. This is only 9.5 grains, and we're almost at our neck here. So we've used our dummy round here, and we've got our seating die pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and run this first case up and see where our seating depth is before I finish running the body down to engage the crimp. And we are just right at that first groove there where I want to set that crimp. So I'm going to barely back out the stem and lower the body, and then put the stem back down to where it touches the bullet. And then all the rest should be the same. And there we have our 10 loads with Trailboss already done. There is that slight ring from the seating stem, but I have not seen that to affect any sort of accuracy previously. So here is our 9 grains of 700X we're going to be using with the 200 grain Lee cast bullet. Now 700X is a flaky shotgun pistol powder, super fast burning, and it is possible to do a double charge, so always double check your charges and make sure not to overdo it here. Here is the load we're trying to duplicate with this. This was done at 25 yards just to see where it hits on the paper. You can see the 10 grain load was opened up a little bit more and 9 was a little bit tighter, so we're going to try that again. One thing I like about having my Uniflow clamped onto my desk here is I can simply unlock that, and now I can dump my powder right out of here without having to unlock any of this stuff here. Eventually I'll get it mounted to my desk, but we'll see. I'm kind of liking this method. This is very hard to do with a microphone and a camera in your way. That was a pain, but we're good to go here. We're going to move on from 700X, and we're going to fill up our unit flow with some 8208 XBR. Here we have our load that we're duplicating with 8208 with 33 grains. A nice little grouping there at about 25 yards, I believe. If we've never seen it before, here is a look at 8208. It's a really small extruded powder, and it almost has a golden tint, and that's why I believe they made the label all shiny and golden. And then a quick look at our charged cases here just to verify nothing looks weird. We're not going to see a tenth of a grain difference, but we will see if we have half or a double charge. So there you go. And as you can see, we've got our 10 bullets seated with the 8208 XBR, and that is going to wrap it up for today. Make sure to stay tuned for a range report once I get back. We'll have all the data and info that you can gather from a target at random distances without a chronograph. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video. Stay safe. Have a good one.